squad rolling deep, can't stand on their feet. The fear on the grip, hands in the go funny pot. Sticky fingers, palm looking, the block stay hot. Cyraxx, shadow boxing, swinging at the air, undefeated in delusion. Reality don't care, Jupiter creeping, got the whole crew shook. Predator vibes, got a band from the book, Josh Block at the hill. Bottle in his clutch, captain of a ship that's been sinking too much. Over Navy rattling, can't step to the throne. Worry, drop the mic, let them reap what they've sown.
What's up, guys? Cyraxx had kind of a bombshell live stream yesterday. There's a lot going on in the Cyraxx world right now, so we're going to get into it, but I do just want to give you guys kind of a warning and a precursor. I usually keep these things pretty light. It's usually me, laughing into the mic and making fun of Cyraxx. Today is not going to be one of those days. This stream really just made me feel gross thinking about the way that he responded to this situation and the things that he's prioritizing about it. It's sad. So I'm just warning you that this is one of the lolcow videos that's more like, oh, these people are terrible, as opposed to these people are hilarious. So just that being on the table before you even hit play, let's get into it.
Hey, Katie.
Alright, so this guy's no Meryl Streep, and this type of sympathy baiting is always gross, the sitting there, pretending to cry into the camera before you even say what's wrong, really building up the anticipation of, oh god, Chance, what happened? What can we do to help? And when you find out what he's actually pretending to be upset about here, it makes him doing this and making it about him even more gross.
I know you're probably wondering why I'm so upset. And I'm about to explain it to you. Because for the past 20 minutes, I've been bawling my fucking eyes up. Because I just learned the worst news ever. I really just learned the worst news of my whole fucking life. And it crushed me.
Again, before he actually reveals what actually happened, here's a little game you can play during this video. Something bad happened to someone else, and that's what he's upset about, but count how many times he says I and my and me versus how many times he says this poor girl's actual name.
You see, a few months after me and Kira split, there was this girl that randomly added me on Facebook. And me and her got to being really good. Me and this girl got to be super close with each other and become really good friends rather quickly. Well, during that time, this is before we dated. Well, during the time period of us just being friends, we became super close really quickly. We would talk on Facebook all the time. We would message each other all the fucking time. And we would talk, on a daily basis. Literally almost all day and all night we would talk. We would always message each other back and forth. And the reason why we didn't video chat or voice call was because she was always busy with work. And I understood that. I got that, because she was always busy doing stuff. Well, there was a point where everything had happened with my PC and my Xbox. And she saw what happened. And she offered to send me a brand new PC 2 separate times. And the reason I say 2 separate times was because William Gloryhole and N-word Boy stole the mail and had it redirected both times.
Alright, so again, he hasn't said what this person actually did yet that's so bad, but when you realize the reality of the situation that he's talking about, the fact that he would even bring up or try to sympathy bait or try to throw back any type of attention towards the fact that he claims his trolls stopped him from getting more free gaming equipment from some girl online who felt bad for him, is like, the fact that he would even mention that in this situation is beyond inappropriate.
She tried to send me a $4,000 PC that was brand new off the shelf. They stole it and had it redirected. They found out the shipping info and had it redirected to them. So we dealt with it. She got her money back. April got her money back. And we tried again, but this time for a laptop a few months later. Again, the same thing fucking happened. They found out where it was being sent to and had the package rerouted and resent to them. Only the second time they did something very fucking evil. They sat there and had a fucking $25 fucking baby toy that you can get off of Amazon sent to the location where I was supposed to pick up the package.
I just want you guys to think back to the beginning of the video when Cyraxx was pretending to cry, and how absolutely fake and just not at all legit that was. And look at him now. When he was pretending to be upset about what we will and he will reveal happened to this girl, it was totally fake. It just was, you could completely tell that he's just, messing around for the camera, trying to sympathy bait. But look at him talking about how evil it was that he didn't get his gaming computer. He is genuinely anguished about that. It's all about chance. He's 100% actually upset now, and you can physically tell the difference. And it's gross that he doesn't really care about what actually happened, but that he can summon up some actual sadness about his gaming computer that was never meant to be.
And when I got home and showed April what they had sent, just like me, she was fucking furious. She was pissed. And understandably so. And shortly after that, William Gloryhole and N-word Boy called Amazon and had a fake flag put on, they had made, fake claims and false claims, to where now Amazon will not deliver anything over $400 to my house because of them. And I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, it is. And so me and April dealt with that. And it got to a point to where, me and her started talking more and more and more on a regular basis, to where we finally decided, you know what? We like each other so much. Why don't we, we both decided, hey, why don't we just be together? Why don't we date each other? And we did. And I was actually supposed to go out there this month to a festival called Aftershock, which is the biggest concert on the West Coast of the year. They do it every year out in California.
So one thing for context about this relationship between Cyraxx and this person who met him online, whose name I don't believe he said it yet is April, is that he always wanted something from her. He always wanted to, find a way to get something for Cyraxx out of the situation. So it sounds, from what we understand on the outside looking in, like this was a person who was kind of lonely on the internet and was looking for someone to connect with, and they ended up reaching out to Chance. And via that relationship, he's then consistently asking her for emotional support, to listen to him vent, for her to buy him new consoles, that he's pressuring her to send this and that. And when it gets redirected by the trolls, if that even really happened, then it's like, well, can you send me another one? And actually, can you send me a computer instead? That would be pretty cool. So when he mentions this music festival that the two of them were supposed to attend together, coincidentally this month, month, and he mentions going out there to see her, just remember that this is a situation where he would have been having her pay for the tickets and probably pay for his transportation there and give him a place to stay. And this isn't, two people who were like friends and kindred spirits just going to a festival together. This is a deadbeat getting another person to take him to do something that he wants to do and to pay for all of it because he's taking advantage of their loneliness. So I just want to frame this relationship in that way before he goes any further.
I was supposed to go out there to Aftershock Fest and meet a whole bunch of bands and have fun and listen to and get to see bands that I grew up with that I fully enjoyed, or bands that my friends enjoyed that I wanted to do stuff for. Like I was.
And hang out with April, right? Your girlfriend that you care about so much, who was going to be helping you even get into this situation. See, when he talks about having to miss out on this, he's not saying, it sucks that I don't get to go because it would have been really cool to meet April for the first time, or it sucks that I don't get to go because I was really looking forward to spending time with her. No, he frames the situation as, it sucks that I don't get to go because I was going to get to meet all these bands that I've liked since I was a kid. Look at what Cyraxx has to miss out on. Like, he's completely unaware of how transparent he's being about how selfish he is.
I was supposed to surprise one of my friends for their birthday with a video by one of their favorite bands after I got to meet them and stuff like that, because April had paid for the VIP passes to where we were going to be backstage. We would get to meet the bands, get to meet all the members of each band that was there and have fun. Like, it was supposed to be a fun thing.
There it is. April had paid for the VIP passes. So what he's upset about right now is missing out on all of the fun and expensive things that April could potentially provide for him. Like I said, at no point during this rant at all has he said anything about how he was excited to meet her in person or hang out with her or spend time with her. It's all about the things that she was going to buy for him, basically, and the experiences that she was going to pay for him to get to have.
Well, there was one time where I asked her if, we could video call, because by this point, we hadn't video called at all. We had only, texted each other back and forth multiple times. Like, you could literally, like, if I still had her on my Facebook, like, you could see how much we had texted. Like, it was a lot. And so finally I asked her, hey, is there any way that we could, video call? And, like, I had voice called her before multiple times. Like, we had texted, we had voice called almost daily. And, I finally got to the point where I was like, hey, why don't we try video calling? Well, some stuff came up for her to where she couldn't. And I understood because, like, she had had a meeting for work or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. And she said that we could do it later on. Well, later on, I found out from her that her phone broke. Or that her phone supposedly broke. Which I found out today all that was true. That all did happen. Well, I started to get skeptical about whether she was real or not. Because she would constantly send me photos of her or of who I thought was her. And she would constantly send me, Instagrams of different people. And at the time, I didn't understand why she was doing it. And it finally got to the point to where, I spoke up and I was like, okay, there's videos of this person's Instagram that aren't adding up with your voice. Like, I know your voice all too well. What's going on? And understandably now, out of fear, she didn't really say anything. She couldn't really, tell me. And all I wanted was the truth. That's all I wanted from her was the truth.
The truth, and a gaming computer, and VIP passes to a music festival, and transport to California, and a place to stay, and the truth. The truth is the first thing, though.
Well, I ended up splitting things off with her because things just, in my mind, didn't seem right. And like I said, it was because of William Gloryhole and N-Word Boy.
I ended up splitting things off with a girl who was willing to talk to me all the time and spend exorbitant amounts of money on me because I was unable to verify that she was as hot as I wanted her to be. However, it's really N-word boy and William Gloryhole's fault, and now I'm gonna tell you why. All right, Chance. Let's hear this attempt.
Making me so paranoid of every real person that comes into my life that I don't know what's real and what's not. I genuinely question everybody that comes into my life now because of them, and I hate that. I hate not trusting people. I used to be the most trusting person in the world, but now I'm not. I'm constantly scared, constantly on edge, constantly paranoid.
So here's the sympathy baiting again, right? Is he when he does shitty things to other people who cared about him, it's actually the fault of a third party like the trolls because he was scared. And he intentionally uses language like that, like, I'm so scared, I'm so nervous, I can't trust people anymore, because again, this video is not about you feeling bad for April. This video is about you feeling bad for Chance, and it's about Chance making sure that everyone on the internet knows this is not at all to be laid at his feet. This is completely the fault of other people who had, in my opinion, nothing to do with it, but somehow because people were messing with Cyraxx, then when Cyraxx does things that affect other people, it's really, there's no accountability for him. It's really just a through line of it's those original people's fault.
Well, because of that paranoia, I ended up blocking her. Well, fast forward to today when I was talking to an old friend of mine who actually was good friends with the guy that used to mow April's grass for her. Because I guess they grew up together and, she gave him a job, mowing her grass or whatever, which was totally cool. Well, my friend reached out to him today to see what was going on. Because he had told me, like, hey, there's this, person that is a supporter that wants to help. Let me see if I can, reach out to them. Referring to April, because I didn't know that my friend knew April. And so my friend started going through April's friends list to see what was going on because she hadn't posted anything in a very long time. So my friend naturally went through her friends list and started to try to, see if he could find out what was going on because it wasn't normal for April to not post.
So before he goes on, I just want to add for context that even after Chance blocked her, April was reaching out to other people who knew him to see if she could continue to try to help him, knowing that he had blocked her.
Well, he finally got an answer back from one of her friends named Chris, who was the one that, mowed her lawn. And so he had Chris reach out to me because I wanted to know from her friends what had happened. Like, what was going on. Because I wanted to know if she was okay, what was up. Well, I found out today that she had took her life. I had found out today, just a little bit ago, that she had took her own life because I had left her. And because of the trolls constantly attacking her.
So immediately just that happening to her is horrible. And that's an incredibly sad thing that if you have any experience with someone you care about doing that, you know how upsetting that is to the people surrounding that person. It's never any one individual person's fault when someone does what April did. However, there are behaviors that you could have potentially done or not done that were not helpful to the person in the situation, especially if they were already in a fragile state and they were already close to that point. when you know that somebody is dealing with depression or you know that someone has had those types of ideations before, I think there's a moral obligation to treat those people with an additional level of attentiveness and kindness and empathy than maybe you would a friend that you only talk to here and there and things are going well for them. You know, it's if you know that somebody is in that place, maybe you check on them a little bit more. There are things that you can do. And maybe you don't, start petty fights, things like that. So for Chance to say outright, she did this because of me, because I left her, is it's like both ends of the spectrum of he doesn't want to be blamed for this, so he's saying that it's not his fault. However, he also wants to feel important and special in the situation, so he's saying that it was solely because of him. First of all, Chance, it wasn't solely because of you. There was so don't put yourself on that pedestal of like, you were just such an amazing internet boyfriend that because she couldn't be with you anymore, she had to do this. That's an insane narcissistic line of thinking for you to even have. I am 100% sure that April had 1,000 different things going on in her life going back years that ended up culminating in this very sad situation, and you're only a very small part of that equation. However, at the same time, for her to be in the fragile state that she was in, which if you guys were talking all day, every single day, and calling and communicating in all the ways that you just spent 10 minutes laying out that you did, you definitely would have known, or if you cared about her at all, picked up on at some point that, something was off. I'm fairly sure that, she was sharing these things with you because you talk about your own issues constantly. I'm sure it came up. So as much as a important connection as she was supposed to be to you because you guys were talking 24/7 apparently, that would obviously be a two-way street. This person was communicating with you nonstop. You were an important connection to them as well. So for you to, just get nervous because of William Glory Hole and N-word boy and cut this person off 100% in the state that they're in. Yeah, that's an incredibly messed up thing to do, and no one else is ever again like responsible for somebody doing this, but at the same time, you can either help or you can make the situation worse, and you doing that 1000% made the situation worse, especially after you did everything in your power to use this person for months on end to try to extract any amount of money or expensive items or concert tickets that you could out of them.
And believe me when I say the initial shock was devastating.
There are absolutely no tears on his face. The quiver in his voice is completely fake. And now it's like even after what happened, he can't stop trying to use her for stuff because now that he can't use her for, conversation or emotional connection or money or tickets or gaming consoles, he has to use her to try to karma farm like sympathy on the internet and make people feel bad for him instead. Like, that's shamelessly what this is. He's getting on the internet and he's using this situation, to try to make people feel bad for him, the same way that he pretended to know victims of crimes in his town in the past and say that they were his best friends so that he could get people to feel bad for him in that situation too. When something bad happens, even close to the proximity of Cyraxx, the only thing that he can think of to do is try to make it about himself to try to get some type of sympathy out of people.
I dropped to my knees and sat there on the floor and bawled my eyes out for over half an hour. Because now her friend Chris blames me for her death. When it wasn't on me, it was on William and N-word boy and them for making.
Again, listen very closely to how he talks, right? I dropped to my knees and cried and all this stuff because, and then the because isn't because she's gone and I can never talk to her again. The because is because her friend blames me. He's not even saying that he's sad that it happened. He's saying he's sad that people are saying it's his fault. And that's exactly how he feels about it.
Making me so fucking paranoid. And I genuinely feel fucking terrible. I genuinely feel fucking bad. Because I did not know that she was real. And looking back now I understand why she did everything she did to hide from the trolls. Fake name, doing certain things, moving certain ways. I didn't see it. And now that I do see it, I feel fucking terrible.
So just to clarify, like, regardless of whether or not she was the person in the pictures that she was sending you, she was real, like she was a person. Like if you guys were talking 24/7 and you were even having voice calls and stuff like that, it's not like she was like an AI. Like regardless of whether she was sending you an actual accurate photo of herself, this was a real human being that you were talking to. So this little straw man that he's trying to set up here of like, well, I this isn't my fault because I didn't know she was real. You might not have known what her actual identity was, but she was an actual human being. That part you did know for sure.
Even though I know I'm not at fault for being paranoid and scared and questioning whether she was real or not, I still feel bad. The ones really at fault are N-word boy and William Glory Hole. They're the real ones at fault. Because had I not been paranoid because of them, she might still be fucking alive. She might still be alive today if it wasn't for them. I can't even begin to express the amount of disgust, the amount of sickness that I fucking feel inside.
So anyone who's ever experienced any type of actual legitimate grief knows that the last thing that you're thinking of in that situation is how you need to let everyone know that it wasn't your fault. Usually, even in a situation where, maybe it was a complete accident, say like a car accident or something like that, people will feel and say things along the lines of like, maybe this wouldn't have happened if I had driven them to work that day, even though that doesn't even really make sense, or I should have called them more. Like people do naturally feel guilty about things in these situations, even when they really couldn't have done anything about it and it wasn't their fault at all. So the fact that Chance's first instinct is immediately just to be like, now look, I know it's not my fault, and I feel bad, but I know it's not my fault though. It's William and N-word boy's fault. It's like that is not the natural human reaction of anyone who isn't a complete narcissist.
I can't even describe how sick to my fucking stomach I feel right now. The one fucking person that actually gave a fuck about me, that actually saw through all the fucking bullshit that William and N-word boy and all of them had put me through. Everything. She saw through everything and saw me for me. She is the first person in several months, in several years, to see through all the fucking bullshit, to see through all the fucking lies, and see who I truly am as a human being. And still gave a fuck enough to want to be with me, despite all the lies, despite all the bullshit that people have said about me. She saw through all of that and saw who I am as a human being, saw who I am as a person, and saw that I'm not really that bad of a guy. That I just got fucked with on a super hard level and was trying my hardest to do good for myself. She saw through everything.
And the way that you repaid her for that was to beg her to buy you a bunch of stuff, pressure her to buy you more stuff when the original stuff didn't get there, and then completely cut her off and offer her no reciprocation or support in any way for the things that she was going through, even though she was helping you with everything that you were dealing with. And then to top it all off, after she passes away, you try to make it about yourself and use it as a weapon against the people who are messing with you. So, like I said, not a whole lot to laugh about in this one. Chance, you're a piece of shit. You guys have a good day.